Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Jeff. This is Jeff Talks Stocks, and today I'm going to talk with you about 7 amazing companies. And when we get to the end of my list of 7, I want to talk about 2 that are selling at a really good price, and also 2 more that are phenomenal but are a little bit too expensive but are worth waiting on. So let's get started. The first company is Disney. You've heard of it. I don't have to go into a lot of depth, but they've got the theme parks, Disney World, Disneyland. They own Star Wars, the whole Star Wars franchise. They own Pixar. They own the Marvel movie franchise, Frozen, and they're probably going to be rolling out these incredible streaming services to compete with Netflix and Hulu and Apple streaming service. So they have a very wide moat, that's what I call it. So a wide moat it's a real advantage that a company has when you get really big and really strong and you dominate in one or more areas. It makes it really hard for a competition to drive you out of business. So they've got a wide moat, which is the W, and their management, I would say, is okay. I can go into more depth in another video if any of you guys want and say why I don't think the Disney management is amazing, but they're okay. Company has a wide moat, and that is my number 1. Number 2, Nike. Also wide moat. I mean, they're the only game in town when you come to think about it as far as a global brand where, everybody recognizes it without even seeing the name. They just see the swoosh, sneakers, activewear, you name it. Wide moat, management with talent and integrity. That's my shorthand for that, TI. So I think on all counts, Nike is a solid company. I wouldn't say it's super expensive right now, and I wouldn't say it's super cheap stock, but it's a great stock for anybody looking to hold a stock for the long term. Number 3, CVS. Narrow moat. Not a big wide moat, not a really dominant way of keeping out the competition, but they just did a partnership with Aetna Insurance, and they've got a pretty strong business going in that pharmaceutical, retail, and also distributing to different healthcare organizations. So they've got a narrow moat. Their management is okay, but they seem to be selling at a pretty cheap price right now. I would say that CVS, for a number of reasons, has had its price go down. So that's a stock that I think is really worth taking a deeper look at. Microsoft, a wide moat. They are dominant in that whole Windows software operating area. And they're coming out with a lot of really good, a lot of great things in the future with their new CEO, Satya Nadella. And I think that their future is a lot brighter than it was even a couple of 3 years ago with his leadership. So they get wide moat and TI for talent and integrity. Number 5, Texas Instruments. This is a really interesting company. I only knew about it as a kid because they made the coolest calculators. I mean, they did everything from just regular basic math to graphing and all kinds of cool stuff. But that's only 3% of their business. Their dominant wide moat is doing, they're a chip maker, and they do analog chips. I know, in a world of digital technology, analog chips. But they make very specialized chips that are used in cars, and they're used in all kinds of different applications, computers, cell phones. And what they do is not easy to commoditize. And that is why they have a wide moat. And they also have great leadership. So I give them a TI. And I just should mention that most companies do not get these glowing marks. Most companies do not have wide moats. And if you looked at the 5,000 plus publicly traded US companies, they don't all have great leadership. So when a company has both of those things, I look for the price, and if the price is great and you've got a wide moat and you've got great leadership, then that for me is 3 great signals that a company is really worth something, worth looking at as an investment. Number 6, Costco, wide moat, talent and integrity. You guys know about Costco. I don't think I have to talk about that. And number 7 is UBS. That stands for United Bank of Switzerland. Narrow moat, and they do have great leadership. United Bank of Switzerland is a huge global financial services company, brokerage firm, asset manager. They specifically cater to high net worth individuals. They do wealth management, and they are like one of the biggest. So, you know, like here in the States, we have Goldman Sachs, worldwide UBS. It's a great company. It has a narrow moat just because what they do is something that other companies can reproduce, but they've got great leadership, and I have noticed the stock price has been slammed lately. I know, you know, a lot of people don't talk about some of these companies based in other countries, especially since they're not tech companies, but when they go on sale like this and they become really cheap, I think it's worth taking a closer look at them. And now, for our special segment of things that I think are worth paying attention to, are what's cheap now. CVS, which I mentioned a little earlier, has that wide moat, okay leadership, and UBS a narrow moat, but great leadership. And those are two companies of all the ones I mentioned that are actually, I think, selling at a pretty low price. I was going to say pretty fair, but I would say they're pretty cheap. And because they're so low, you have a margin of safety, meaning if things don't go so great for the economy or the stock market or whatever, you're already getting such a good bargain that even if your math is off or even if you have bad luck from these prices, I think that there's a greater chance the stock price is going to move up than down, but that is just my opinion. Here are a couple of great companies that I think are super worth looking at, but they're not super cheap. One of them is Progressive. It's a car insurance company. They are very well run. They do a great job in their area. They're very well run, but they don't have a wide moat. They kind of have a narrow moat. But they have a long history of running the company really well. And I would say if either Costco or Progressive got much cheaper in the next few months, they would be as exciting and as attractive to me as a potential stock buy than they are now. So that is everything I have to share for you right now. I hope that this segment of looking at 7 different stocks and also looking at the management, the moats, and also the price is useful to you. And if any of these companies are interesting to you and you'd like me to drill down more on them and go into more detail or talk more about the managements or the moats or the pricing, leave a message in the comments. I will check them out and I'd be happy to respond to them. Also, in the description, I'm going to put a link to what I talked about right here, all the companies and their ticker symbols. So if you want to check them out, it'll be easy to find. I just came out with a book. It's called Stock Market Intelligence. It's available on Amazon. You can read it on your Kindle or get the paperback version. If you like some of what I talked about today, I think that book might be useful and valuable for you. Just want to thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you like it, please give it a like and a subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.